My childhood was just about as far from the idyllic picture of a nuclear family as one can get. My closest relative was my grandfather, who genuinely loved me and was a kind and compassionate man. But most of my early memories were of him standing near the door, one hand on the doorknob, saying he was very busy and had to go. It seemed like he was always busy and always had to go somewhere else, anywhere but my house. The rest of my extended family lived far away, either in extremely rural parts of our state or in other states altogether. They might as well have lived on the moon. We were nothing alike, as though we were from different planets. While I was being beaten or neglected by my mom, no one seemed to care to ask how things were at home. While I was experimenting with drugs and alcohol and learning how to survive on my own in the city, they lived in the boonies, in a Norman Rockwell painting. While my friend group looked like the United Nations, they lived in all-white enclaves. While they were bemoaning the waning influence of fundamentalist Christianity in the broader American culture, I was learning how to sell dime bags and steal from department stores. We may share some genetics, but it didn't seem like we were ever really family. It felt like they wanted nothing to do with me and my messy life. Like a lot of Americans, I had a picture in my head of a family with a mom, a dad, 2.5 kids, a minivan, and a golden retriever. But my life didn't measure up at all. Growing up without a father and not knowing how to talk about my experiences of abuse and neglect by my mother made me feel like an outcast, like I didn't belong in my own family. The nuclear family was a lie. A large part of the problem is the very concept of the nuclear family itself. Where did we even get the idea that the nuclear family was the ideal family? Who gets to decide these things? For eons, humans lived in bands and tribes, interdependent groups of families, related not by blood, but by a common life. After that, extended families or clans were the most common forms of family for millennia. It wasn't until the rise of Western individualism and capitalistic consumerism that the concepts of freedom and financial stability gave rise to the ideal of the nuclear family. And even then, the ideal didn't last long, possibly only from around 1950 to 1965. Furthermore, the so-called nuclear family only really benefited a select few, the relatively wealthy white Americans, and men in particular. Only those with the financial means to sustain this independent lifestyle and the social privilege to navigate it thrived under this new model, which only served to widen inequality. Those who suffered were disproportionately women, people of color, and people with lower incomes. In the generations before, extended families provided a buffer against some of life's most turbulent disruptions. Extended families can pool their resources and cooperate to raise children. Extended families provided a connection to culture and heritage, history and tradition. The nuclear family wasn't built on traditional family values, as people often think. It broke families apart, increased inequality, and traumatized children. The period when the nuclear family flourished was not normal. It was a freakish historical moment, when all of society conspired to obscure its essential fragility. Thankfully, a massive shift is taking place. The gravity of the 1950s Leave It to Beaver model of family has lifted, and Americans are waking up to just how far from reality it always was. People are now longing for a village rather than an island. Instead of maintaining the facade of self-sufficiency, more and more adults and children today want to live and grow under the loving gaze of a dozen pairs of eyes and be caught when they fall by a dozen pairs of arms. People are rediscovering the power of fictive kin and chosen families. As Maya Angelou once wrote, "Family isn't always blood. It's the people in your life who want..."